I had a very good friend call me, and she was having a panic attack. Why? Because she was afraid something might be happening. Now, this thing wasn't happening, at least it wasn't happening yet, but this is what happens to us. We get very nervous, we get anxious, it's because our minds start to go into what could be happening, when, then, or maybe now, but we don't know. We don't really know anything, and we start to our imagination, our fantasy brings us to a place where we get a panic attack. So what did I say to her? I said, okay, wait a minute, can you take off your shoes? She says, well, actually, I'm driving. I can't take off my shoes. I said, okay, so that's not going to work. Plan B. Because why? Why did I want to take off her shoes? I wanted to ground her. So if I couldn't ground her by taking off her shoes, now mind you, why would grounding be taking off shoes? It's because the foot, when it touches the ground and you're standing, you feel like you're attached to something. You feel like you're strong and you're stable. If you're like on your tippy toes, for example, and you're trying to walk around, you could fall at any moment, right? But we actually feel the ground under us with our heel, so we feel grounded. Now, she couldn't do that, so what's our next option, which is probably the first option, is you got to ground yourself in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How does a person ground themselves in Hashem? That when they feel like they're going all over the place in so much fear and worry, or when they're thinking about the past and I wish it could have been different, how do I ground myself in Hashem? We get in this week's Parsha. In this week's Parsha it says, Eikev tishme'un. If you hearken, says our usually translation, right, to all my laws, and you keep my ordinances, then guess what? I'm going to keep my pact to you, to your forefathers, and I'm going to give you a tremendous amount of blessing. You're not going to have to worry about anything, because you're going to get everything that you could possibly desire and want, peace and tranquility of mind. Everything's going to come to you. But what I'm asking you to do, what? To hearken. Now, what's the word used for hearken? We have these three words in the beginning of the sentence, and actually, they don't make sense. Rav Moshe Boyer brings that Ve'aya is something of simcha, right? So, okay, there's this happiness. Then Eikev. Eikev is the heel. It's the most kind of thick part of our body. It's the lowest part of our body. So we have happiness, joy, and then we have this word of a heel, which is the Eikev. The heel is part of a regel, which is our leg, right? And then tishme'un. And then we have this idea of tishme'un from shema, from hearing. It's not just listening, it's being able to understand something. It's being able to process something. When Hashem says Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, you're not just supposed to be hearing that God is one. We have to process. We're processing, saying that all the good in my life and all the bad in my life is coming from the exact same source. So there really is nothing that is. It's not good, it's bad, it's all Hashem, right? It's just the way I'm looking at it, but it's all coming from the same source, and that source is all good. So here we have these three words. What are you supposed to learn from them? When we're feeling panic, we're feeling anxiety, we're feeling something that's making us so unstable. When we're floating up in the sky, or we feel like we're sinking into the ground, we have to do what? We have to ground ourselves. So we could take off our shoes. Yeah, we could feel the ground under our heels. And most importantly, we have to ground ourselves in Hashem. Hashem is Haya, Hoveh, V'yeh. He is the past, the present, and the future. If I am not in a state where I feel my body is in the present, and if I'm trembling in fear and anxiety, thinking about something, then that means I'm actually trying to be God, because I'm either worrying about something that's in the future, and so therefore my experience is in the future. I'm not experiencing the present, I'm experiencing the future. And if I'm so worried and distraught about something that happened in the past, then also my body is experiencing the past. I'm not experiencing the present. Only Hashem can be past, present, and future. What can I do? I can be in the present. So that means in the present, I have to take responsibility. I have to think about, wait a minute, what can I do to prepare for the future? But my actually bodily experience is in the present. I'm calm. In the past, I have to think about, wait a minute, I have to do a cheshbon nefesh. What did I do in the past? I have to think about this because I need to make amends. Maybe I made mistakes. Maybe things were great and I want to keep doing them. But my body is not back there. It's here, it is now. I need to ground myself in what? In HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Hashem, who is past, present, and future. And again, how do I do this? Well, let's take our examples. It's actually in the things that are the most in the bottom, the heel, which gives us happiness in life, is when things actually are a surprise. All of a sudden you find, I didn't realize I found $100. That's amazing. I found 100. Even if you find $1, you're excited about it. Why? Because it happened. It was like, all of a sudden I got this Yeshua. I got something, this salvation that happened to me that was wasn't out of my habit. It wasn't out of my hergel. Hergel is the word to be habituated. It's from regel, our legs, which is our heel. Hashem is telling us, if you in your hergel, in your habituation, you're still doing what? You're still processing, you're thinking about me. You're thinking about, wait a minute, how can I connect to Hashem in this mundane thing? That I don't need something to be, wow, I just found $100, but like, wow, I actually went to the supermarket and I actually had $100 to be able to pay for my groceries. Hashem is saying, if you can do that, if you can find me in all parts of your life and ground yourself in what? In me, you're going to get so much bracha, you're going to have peace and tranquility in mind, because you're not going to be always constantly worried with anxiety about past or future. Not to mention the fact that you're going to actually be happy. Why? Because you're really processing, you're contemplating, you're thinking, you're connecting to what? To me. Hashem is constantly telling us, you got to ground yourself, but in what? In a HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So my friend says to me, Elana, how am I going to do my laundry? Like, I'm so worried about this. How am I going to do my laundry? And I said to her, you're going to ground yourself in your laundry with Hashem, which is what? You're going to wash the clothes and you say, Hashem, just wash these thoughts for me. You're going to fold them and you say, Hashem, as I'm folding and making order in my closet, let me make order in my life. Ground yourself in anything that you're doing, for the most mundane, right? Rashi says it's those like small mitzvahs that a person usually steps on. And those small mitzvahs, you're going to find the biggest bracha. But also in the small things in life, if you can ground yourself in them, feel the presence of Hashem. Ground yourself also in your thoughts and emotions, that you shouldn't be running to the future in such anxiety that your body's trembling, or in such regret, or feeling such nostalgia about the past that you're not in the present, that your body is also trembling. Hashem says, no, ground yourself. So here we are, about to enter this Parsha Eikev, and what we can do, we can learn from this by what? By grounding ourselves. No matter what's going on in your life right now, when you take a moment, you're to be in the present. Your body's going to be in the present. Yeah, go ahead, take off your shoes. Feel the ground under your feet. Feel yourself grounded, but in what? In a HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom.